Your project is make a miracle.
Because the 47 Ford is for Pawpaw, my father-in-law, I gotta make this thing right. This thing needs a lot of work.
That's the understatement, bud.
I'm thinking 1,000 horsepower right off the bat.
Whew.
So we're going with a 03 5.9 Cummins Common Rail. You said you needed doors? I found you some doors.
That's a milestone, getting this thing ready to fire up.
Oh my gosh!
This is a legit race car.
This is a 2010 ACRX. We need to go through this part by part and upgrade a lot of things. So we're gonna lose some weight and add some power. Wow!
Oh my God, man, look at that thing.
One-Way Diesel is in a small town north of Houston called Nacogdoches. Up here, we have wide open roads, trails, and ranches. So it's a pretty good spot for a diesel shop. I grew up here, and so did my wife, so it's hard to walk around anywhere in Nacogdoches and not run into family. But it's not every day that my father-in-law, Pawpaw, calls me saying he has a big job for us.
Well, I see you found me.
What's going on, Pawpaw?
I got a surprise for you.
You do?
Yeah, I want to show you something.
I was wondering why you called me out here.
Yeah, I know. Well, come take a look at this. This is a 1947 Ford. Well, this is something I bought when I got out of the military in 1973. So I bought it for $250. Guy called me a month later and wanted to buy it back, and I was having so much fun in it that I didn't sell it.
Well, I can tell one thing. You ain't been having fun in it here lately.
Well, it's been put up for a long time. Your project is to do something with it. Make a miracle.
I've been hearing about this truck for years, but this is the first time I'm seeing it. I know for a fact it's gonna be super tough to get parts for this. It looks like you've done a little work taking it apart and...
Well, did a little work on it, but I can't get that far with it, so we've got a few parts left over here.
Yeah, we have quite a bit of parts. That's definitely a good feeling. You know, cab looks in decent shape, bed's a little rough.
This old glove box right here, it used to have a little metal tag, a paper tag. It belonged to the Bureau of Indian Affairs, Oklahoma.
Wow. You know, I really love hearing the history on these old trucks, especially this one. It means a lot that he actually trusted me and my team to restore this thing. Tell me a little bit about what you're wanting with it.
You see it right here? I want it to look like a brand new 1947 Ford. And when you see it on the street, you go, whoa, make it look awesome.
You've already got me at that. I'm thinking 1,000 horsepower right off the bat.
Whoa, 1,000 horsepower is gonna be something else.
We're gonna modernize this thing, so I need you to keep an open mind.
Well, I've been keeping an open mind about you for a long time.
Okay, I appreciate that. Well, we got a lot of work cut out for us, though.
Yeah, you do, I know that. Well, I'm eager to get it together where I can drive it. I'm gonna put Mama over here and we're gonna go cruising through town.
That'd be the coolest thing I've seen in a long time. We're gonna give this thing power, but not too much for Pawpaw to handle. And it's gonna take a ton of work getting the body looking right. But I can see it. But this thing is going to look better than it ever has in its entire life. Let's call a tow truck, get this thing loaded up and get to the shop. I'm ready to get it going.
Let's do it.
I've got big plans for this truck, and I want to give my father-in-law something he can be proud of. That means a lot to me. And if I don't get this thing right, I'm gonna have to answer to my wife every single day. So I gotta make this thing right. I cannot wait to see what my brother and my dad have to say about this one, because let me tell you something, this is a project.
Well, well, well. He finally suckered you into it, didn't he?
So you know a little bit about this?
I know way more about this than I want to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What is it?
This is Pawpaw's truck. This is a 1947 Ford. He's owned this thing since 1973. He paid $250 for it.
Wow.
This thing needs a lot of work.
That's the understatement, bud.
But the good news is, he's got a lot of the original parts in the bed.
What are we thinking about doing with it?
He definitely wants like that resto mod look.
There's nothing cooler than bringing an older truck like this to the modern age and
Yeah.
being able to enjoy it.
Right off the bat, you know, we need 1,000 horsepower and a diesel. What engine are you thinking?
If he wants cruise and all the modern stuff, maybe something we can change the tune on the fly, stuff like that. I'm thinking of 5.9 common rail.
I mean, what kind of transmission do you think?
What, does he want to shift it, or?
No, we don't want him to have to do any more work than he already does.
We're definitely going to be running automatic, the 48 RE.
Yeah, I think that's a great all-around trans, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I want this thing fast.
As long as we make a super, wide tire on the rear, I'll be okay with
You
it.
know, that's exactly what I
So
was
we
thinking.
can do that. We'll cut and extend the fender.
Yeah.
And I want this thing to look mean. It's definitely gonna need a lot of suspension work.
Absolutely. That's probably one of the first places I'd start, man.
Yeah. Lots of power, make it get to the ground.
So we want to 4-link it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Coilovers, all 4 corners.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing, he gave me some color options, like a silver gray color or a black. And when he said black, I was like, why don't we murder this thing out?
Yeah.
That'd be a good idea.
We'll do matte black trim on it,
Oh, I definitely love that.
a gloss black paint job. Do some one-off wheels on it.
Yeah.
Same concept.
Murder them out.
Murder them out. I think with that, this mean, modern twist we're gonna add to this thing is gonna take it to the next level.
Oh, for sure, dude.
Well, we can sit here and talk about this, or we can go start getting this thing tore apart and get to work.
Man, let's get at it.
Let's get it.
Let's do it.
The 47 arrived in pieces, so there's not much to tear down. But knowing that, parts are gonna be really hard to come by. Clay and my dad are gonna pull all apart and see what we have.
Let's start taking everything out, inventory everything, and see what we got, see what we need.
Sounds good.
I bet he got a story for every dent.
Oh, yeah.
So the iconic 47 Ford front grille, jailhouse,
How hard is it to get a hood?
impossible, unless you find an original one that somebody wants to get rid of.
Beautiful. All right, thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
We're giving this 1,000 horsepower, so we're going with a performance suspension with coilover shocks. So coilovers are great for the 47s because they're adjustable and we can control them much better at distributing the power to the rear tires. We can tune it for a softer ride for an older gentleman, or we can tune it for a performance vehicle to put a lot of power to the ground. These ain't gonna work in those. Well, the sleeves that they sent us for the shock is just a little too wide, and it's a little too narrow on the inside of the sleeve for our bolt to go through it. Basically, we have to shave about 1/8 of an inch off of this sleeve, make it a little shallower so it'll slide in between our control arm. Just got to do a little modifying on it and then slap it in. And then we're going to drill the center of the sleeve out itself for our bolt to fit through it. You gotta go bigger. Not everything is, perfect, and not everything's gonna line up all the time or be the right fit. So sometimes we have to modify them ourselves. It's a custom world, and we gotta do custom jobs. Everything's gonna be a one-off most of the time. Beautiful. Oh, like a glove. And there is our coilover shock. This thing's gonna ride nice, handle well. It's gonna be like a brand new vehicle.
Now we're gonna set our spindle on our control arm, like so. Put our rotor on, our calipers.
It looks good.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a nice truck, man.
Every time we take on a build, we rebuild an engine specifically for it. So we're going with an 03 5.9 Cummins common rails on this 47 Ford. So we're taking it apart, we're cleaning everything up, putting in all new parts and a new crank.
I'm gonna bring Mr. Crank over here to me. We have a few laying around, ready to go. So we leave these upright like this because if you don't, its own weight can actually bend the crank. It's made to be set into the engine.
You good? They're coming your way.
Yep.
It feels good.
Yeah, looks like it's spinning freely.
What I like.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get our main caps in, get it torqued down.
All right, let's do it. All right, so when I put these in here, I just want to make sure they're aligned and going into their holes properly. All right, so now we want to put a little anti-seize on our main cap bolts. This helps us make sure we have a smooth torque whenever we're tightening these down. You don't want these binding up as you're torquing them down because then you'll get an inaccurate torque. And that's something you cannot have whenever you're dealing with something as precious as this. So every time we torque it down, we want to make sure we go back over and spin it over and make sure the crank spins freely, no binding, no noises, nothing weird going on. All right, so we got our timing cover. My dad got it all cleaned up, polished, ready for us to throw a little bead of silicone on here. We like to use that just to make sure we don't have any leaks, don't have any issues. So I'm gonna throw a little bead on it, spread it out just a little bit, make sure all our surfaces are covered. Throw my gasket on here, torque it down, and then we're ready to put the cam in it.
So we got our camshaft that we're fixing to install in our engine. On our crank here, we have a timing mark. It has one tooth here with a 0 on it. And then on your cam, we have 2 marks. It's got 2 zeros. So you want to stick this mark in between these 2 marks. That way it's in time and your valves are opening when they're supposed to and everything functions as it should. Now we need to tighten our cam down and continue putting this thing together. I grew up with, gasoline stuff. And they're the ones that got into diesels and have pushed me to learn more about these. Every time I see it go down the track and my boys are smiling at the end of the track, it's rewarding, and to carry this on, be doing this with my sons, I'm blessed, very blessed.
The doors on the 47 were terrible. It would have taken months to fix. One of the good things about my dad knowing everybody in this small town, there's always someone that knows someone with the parts that you can't find. What are you doing?
It's like Christmas time. I brought gifts. You said you needed doors for a 47 Ford?
Oh, man.
I found you some doors.
Man, these things are in great shape, dude. I mean, I don't know how you pulled this off.
Well, that's the thing about the hot rod community. This favor's gonna come back around one day. I'll have to pay him back or something.
That's right.
Yeah. And then I got us a bed, aftermarket bed.
No
They're building
way.
it, yes.
This definitely saves the day, Dad. Thank you.
You're welcome, bro.
Let's get these doors fitted up. We'll strip them, prime them, paint them.
Well, let's
do it, Dad.
get busy, bro.
Love you.
Love you too, man. We're just about done with the rebuild on this 5.9 Cummins common rail for the 47 Ford. Now we've got our front cover, our cam, our crank. It's all torqued down, our oil pump in here. Now it's time to get the pistons in it.
Tolerances where you want them?
Yes, sir.
Cool.
So it has an oiler, and it's got a slot cut in the piston for that oiler. So if you put the piston in backwards, it will hit the oiler and break it off, and that's bad. So it's real important to make sure you have that lined up with your oiler. So you got a tab that holds this bearing in, and then you have a tab on the rod, and you want to line those up. From the factory, they are stress fractured right here. So when it goes together and you tighten it up, you can't even see that.
All right.
So these are torque to yield. So you do 22 foot-pounds, then 44 foot-pounds, and then 60 degrees. So you turn it 60 degrees. You want it to hit 44. As soon as it hits red, get off of it. Because if you get that torque off, and then you do 60 degrees on it, you torque it too much, it'll break it.
All right, she should be nice and taut now, huh?
Yep, just roll it over and
Make sure she feels good.
yeah. This is the perfect time to find any kind of binding or catch, just little stuff that will take horsepower and RPM away from you. We want to make sure that this crank and all these components are working together smoothly. The smoother it is, the less binding there is, the more spinny, more horsepower we make.
That feels good.
So it spins pretty easy then. That's what we want. I think this thing's going to spin to the moon and make a lot of horsepower. I can't wait to get in the truck and fire it up.
At Mod Mafia, we're known for our H1s, Humvees, and off-road overlanding trucks, right? But we've been looking for a new type of vehicle where we can take our skill set and show everybody else what we can do. And I came across this. So the ACRX was a program. They made 50 examples. They made them in 2 production runs. This is number 25, so this is the 25th one produced. This is a production car, race car. This is a very purpose-built vehicle to compete in Viper World Cup. That's why they were built.
Wow, this is a legit race car.
Yeah, never had emissions equipment, never had AC, had airbags, all types of stuff.
So no comfort, all fun?
All fun. It competed in the Viper World Cup in 2010 and 2011, and it won in 2010, got first place. But that was 13 years ago, and we have no idea how it runs now. We need to go through this part by part and upgrade a lot of things.
What was the output on this engine?
640 horse.
So I imagine you're gonna want to go through the engine, suspension, stuff like that.
You know, and if we're gonna go through it, might as well add some more horsepower.
Oh yeah.
You know, so I want to put like a Gen 5 intake manifold on it. But
really?
I want to go through the suspension, change all the bushings, gonna go spherical instead of rubber bushings.
That'll definitely help give you a more track feel.
Yeah, get more feedback. Display bar end links. I think one of the big upgrades will be the brakes. So these have 4-piston brakes all the way around. So I'm gonna try to get some front brakes that are 6-piston.
The big value here is all the safety equipment that's already in the engine. So you're just refreshing the car, making it suitable for track.
It's all about having fun and doing it responsibly so we can do it another day.
Yeah.
You know, we still got to go through it to make sure everything's what we think it is. It's a 2010, so a lot of this stuff's outdated. So like the seats are out of date because they date out after about 5 years. Same with seat belts, suppression system. So I'm sure I got to update all that stuff.
Right. I know it's not painted underneath, but what are we going to do about the wrap?
So I think what we'll do is we're going to rewrap it. I think we put a lot of logos on for, you know, vendors that help support us, stuff like that.
Like a typical race car?
Like a race car. It needs to look like a race car.
I'm excited about it.
You're excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited for some wheel time.
Well, it sounds like you got a lot of work ahead of you, so I'm going to let you get started on it.
All right.
Cool.
See ya. The Viper has a solid 8.4 liter V10, but after who knows how many laps around the track this vehicle's had, we need to dive into this engine to make sure it's healthy. So Emmett is gonna run a compression test.
Today I just prepped to do a compression test on the engine of the Viper. A compression test checks the valves and the rings to make sure they're sealing and seating as they should inside of the cylinders. What's involved in that is we need to remove the spark plug. At least the plugs look good. And then we're going to remove the fuel pump relay. That's going to keep the engine from firing and from actually running. And now we're going to go ahead and install our compression gauge. Right in that spark plug hole. We're going to go right in through there. Now it's time to crank the engine over and see what the compression is. All right. Typically you want to allow the engine to cycle over 3 to 4 times before letting out of the ignition. So that way it will build full compression. Hey, we got about 130 pounds of pressure in there. That cylinder seems to be nice and strong. All right, 1 down and 9 to go. Alrighty, now we're gonna check this last cylinder and see where she's at. Everything looks good. It's showing that the engine's healthy and has plenty of compression and nothing funny going on or bleeding down. That's really good news. It's good that we ain't gotta rebuild it.
Whenever we get a car like this 2010 ACRX, I like to do what we call a reset. It's a lot like a teardown, but we pull out all the wear items and change them out as we go. A wear item is basically something that while you use it, wears out, right? For example, brake ducts. Whew, getting some dirt coming out of it. You can see this one had been field repaired before by a previous owner. Kind of wrapped some type of duct tape, heat tape on it. So we got some new ones of these coming. With racing, it's obviously expensive. You use a lot of parts. So I want to make sure it's as cost efficient and safe to operate every time I go out and use it.
Taking off the fire extinguisher. Don't pull it. It'll release the fire propellant everywhere. We don't want to do that.
All right, this is our new fire suppression bottle. All the ACRXs came with fire suppression, so all I got to really do is change the bottle. Systems like these have saved entire vehicles from going in the scrapyard.
There we go.
We finished up the race car reset on this 2010 ACRX. The next big upgrade is gonna be changing all the bushings and joints in the suspension. There's a couple reasons why we'd change this out. Number one is age of rubber. Yeah, rubber degrades every decade, and this is a 2010, so it doesn't work as well. The other problem is with rubber, it deflects too much. And so going into turns will be more predictable, and it'll have less unknowns each corner. The car will act more consistent right to left.
So this style ball joint is designed to be threaded in for you to be able to take it in and out of the upper control arm easier. That way they can be changed out faster.
The lower ball joints we press out, and we also press out the control arm bushings. Our ball joint press tool won't work. Sized differently, meant for 1-ton trucks. So we'll use our traditional press. It's a 30-ton press. Boom! Pressed out the ball joint. There it goes. So we got the upper control arm bushing out successfully. So we're gonna go ahead and try to get all 16 of them out and get the new ones pressing.
We're back up underneath the front of the Viper so we can put the new inner and outer tie rods on. The new setup has a different type of mounting position, and the way that they're designed to work gives the driver a much more solid feedback to the steering wheel so they can feel the track a lot better. All right, let's see here. This is the new inner tie rod setup. This is a Clevis to Heim system. With this Clevis Heim setup, no matter what pressure is being applied to this in any direction, it's always the same strength. Whereas this can have failure issues if put in a bind in a serious manner. I'm just mocking this up pretty close to what it was prior with the old setup. That takes care of one side. We'll move on to the other and handle that.
Down, down, down. My guys had to do a ton of body work on this cab on this 47 Ford, but after everything's together, the cab looks perfect.
Let's set it on that, and then we can put the arms underneath it.
All right. Just a little bit heavy. All right, it's good now. All right, guys, let's get the frame in here. Center it up, boys, center it up. All right, y'all just tell me where the cab bolts are, because I can't see. This is my favorite part, you know, is seeing this come back from paint, seeing the frame done. I get to start putting this thing together. First thing we're gonna start doing is getting all the front suspension together. We gotta get our steering sector set up, and then, you know, we'll get our rear end, get our 4-links on, our control arms on, our fuel tank. It's just a huge process, but it's the funnest process because it's like a puzzle. You start seeing pieces go back in it, and I just get more excited every time I get to put a new piece on this. While we're getting everything bolted together, my dad's building the transmission.
Typically, what we do on a lot of these builds, we'll use a 47 RE or a 48 RE. We typically use a 48 RE because the planetaries are a lot stronger, can handle a lot more torque. So this is a 47 case, but I'm using a 48 RE planetary and stuff like that in. Now we've got our second gear drum stacked. We got our directs stacked. Now we're gonna check and make sure we don't have any leaks. We're gonna slide it in our pump like so. We're gonna go to the port that supplies fluid to bring that clutch on. Okay. The original 48 REs came in 3/4 ton Dodges, 1-ton Dodges. I mean, they use these in everything. But the horsepower was, 300 horsepower and 800 foot-pounds of torque. We're taking it to 1,000 horsepower and say 2,200 foot-pounds of torque. So that's why I want to use this. This is the pump gasket. I always change all my seals, all my gaskets, because you don't want any kind of high pressure leaks here, especially in these applications with what we're doing, 1,000 horsepower plus. It's critical. Any kind of pressure loss and you'll be pulling transmission. We don't want to do that. So it's a 4-speed with a torque converter lock. Torque converter lock takes your engine from a stall speed and it locks it in, so it's 1-to-1 after that. So we're putting automatic in it for one, because I don't like to shift, and I know Pawpaw don't like to shift, so I'm old. I've shifted all I want to shift. Put my overdrive housing and all that stuff on. Now I'm gonna get it back on the engine stand, and we're gonna check our end plate to see if I need to add or take away. Because if you get it too tight, what'll happen is this overdrive housing will crack. If you get it too loose, it's slipping. We don't want it to slip. So you gotta get your tolerances just right. That's way too much. Can't have that. The less movement, the better. I'm gonna take the slack up with this. There's different thicknesses on this thrust washer here. You can use different sizes to take up your end play. So we got plenty of clearance for lubrication. I'm happy with that. And then I always air check them. Reverse band right here. Second gear band, that's what we want. All right, now I got my band set the way I want them. Now it's time to install the valve body. I've got a shift kit in it. Just gonna put it in there. We need a filter, put the pan on it, and it's ready to take it over and stick it in that 47. I'm excited to see how well it does. I think it'll do really good.
With the suspension we've got, we're gonna be dropping the 47 forward pretty low. And when we do that, we wanna make sure the oil pan isn't dragging.
Since this 47 forward sits a little low, I want to make sure we got plenty of clearance between the oil pan and our ground surface. So I'm going to take 2 inches out of this oil pan. It's not going to hurt our capacity. We've done it several times. It's not an issue. So we're going to take this out, give us plenty of ground clearance, so if Pawpaw or Chase, gets off the road, we won't hit nothing and tear nothing up. When we cut this piece here, it was shaped to this, but not exactly when we took that out. So as this comes down, it gets wider. So what I've had to do is mold the two together. So when I get heat in this, I can just mold it with my ball peen hammer just to make it line up even better. After we grind it down and sand it all off, you'll never know it. It'll look just like a factory one. Now we gotta fit our pickup tube. Now we've got to take 3 inches out of it and then reattach it to this so we can get oil to our engine. You see this debris that's left in here? You always want to clean these out on the inside of the pipe, because if you don't, this stuff will break off and go through your oil pump and cause serious problems. So now we're going to measure it 5 3/4, which is perfect. That gives me 1/4 inch clearance here, still submerged in the oil good enough where we won't suck any air, and it will function like it's supposed to.
Okay, so we have the Cummins mounted under the cab. Now we're gonna install the valve springs, and then we'll install our head and mount it to the block.
With this thing being 1,000 horsepower, it's going to spin about 5,200 RPMs. So we're going to put our 110-pound valve springs in here and the billet steel retainers so that this thing can safely achieve our RPM goal. That means we can sit there and take it to the limiter, do burnouts, do cool things with it. You know, Pawpaws, they always do stuff like that. So we're going to let him have fun with it.
Making sure we don't have any debris or any sticky stuff or anything in the cylinders that doesn't need to be there. We want them as clean as possible.
All right, there we go. Woo! They never get lighter, dude.
All right, so we just set the head on our block here. That's a big milestone, getting this thing ready to fire up. We're gonna torque it down now. We're pretty much ready to start putting the rest of the top of the engine together. We're gonna do the exhaust manifold, our injectors, valve trains, all that. All right, so we got our injectors rebuilt by my brother. We need these to spray the fuel inside the cylinder so we can get the fuel to actually make the engine run. And diesels are unique. They don't use spark plugs. They use the pressure from the piston coming up, and that much pressure and friction and heat generated actually causes a spark. And that's how you get your ignition. All right, now we're ready to put our rockers on. These have 24 valves, or 4 valves per cylinder, but they only have 2 actual rocker arms. So this is so one rocker arm can push 2 valves down at the same time. Now I'm ready to put the fuel lines on it. This is our fuel rail. So when the injection pump is spinning, it's pushing high pressure fuel into this rail. It's called a common rail injection system. That means that all of these injectors are fed from
the same rail. It's simple. Whenever it senses that opening, that fuel's gonna go to that hole, and then whenever it shuts, it's gonna go to the next one. That's basically the simplest fuel system you can get. This is our rocker box. It'll bolt down, and then our injector harness, it will sit on this, and then our valve cover will go on over that, and the valve cover will bolt to the rocker box. Now we're one step closer to getting this thing fired up.
Super exciting. This is a Gen 5 intake manifold, but new in box. These are impossible to get. And you can retrofit it for Gen 4, because the ACRX is a Gen 4 Viper. The stock intake manifold for the 2010 ACRX, wow, was made of aluminum, which is actually pretty heavy for today's standards. So we're gonna lose some weight and add some power by putting a new one on. So there's a mod or two we gotta do to make this work on our Gen 4. I think the best thing is I'll start working on this. You start tearing down the Viper manifold.
Sounds good. About to destroy that seal. So the purpose of these seals are to prevent you from going in here and tampering with the engine and doing any kind of upgrades, performance, even maintenance. They want everybody to have an equal platform. All right, time to start ripping the rest of them off.
This is a Gen 5 Viper intake manifold. The heads were a little different, but they're also really similar. So we got these torque limiters that I can change this little sleeve in here, and I can run the Gen 5 parts on my Gen 4 ACRX.
Hey, Mark.
Yeah.
Check this thing out. Feel how heavy this is.
Man, you got that off quick.
Oh, man.
Wow, for something aluminum.
Man, you wouldn't expect it to weigh that much.
Oh yeah, now we gotta weigh this thing. Weighs 24.4 pounds for just the intake manifold.
Wow, that's a lot.
But here's the moment of truth right here. 12.8 pounds. Man,
Wow.
that's 11.6 pounds less than the other one. Like, I was kind of expecting like, I don't know, 5 pounds, maybe 6, 10.
That's just almost double.
That's a lot, it's almost half the weight. All right, man, well, let's get this on the car.
All right, good deal.
Let's grab those last two mounts, slide them on. There it goes.
All right,
Cool, man.
good to go.
That's exactly what we're going for right there. I just got the call. We're gonna get a chance to run this car around COTA. Circuits of the Americas in Austin. It's not only good exposure for Mod Mafia, but practically speaking, it's great to test this on one of the best tracks there is. We're just adding some new wheels and tires, giving it a whole new wrap. Then we'll be ready to see what it's got.
Oh my God. You're kidding me, man.
What's going on, Jim? Long time, man.
Hey.
Jim got me into racing years ago, so of course he wanted to come see the 2010 ACRX before we shipped to Dakota.
Oh my God. Man, look at that thing.
Yeah, I was getting.
That is gorgeous. So did you buy it like this?
I mean, I bought an old ACRX, so started with a good platform and then just elevated it. Had to reset it all, update a lot of things, all the top shelf stuff that I could think of at least.
Right. I got Mark into racing, and it didn't take much. Really, he was already into cars, and I tell you, with his ACR, he's knocked it out. Go ahead, show me under the hood.
Yeah.
Oh,
There she is, 8.4 liters right there. V10, all aluminum. So one of the
Gorgeous.
bigger mods we did is put a Gen 5 intake manifold on, and we took the Viper valve cover where the insignia is. It saves 15 pounds off the top of the engine.
no.
Try to keep it as light as possible.
What is it, 460, 470 now with a 4?
Oh no, this is over 700. Yeah.
You sure you can handle it?
I mean, we'll see. The big thing is all the suspension stuff we did. So we reset all the suspension, went through all the bushings and hubs and big Brembo brake kit, spherical lower bearings, tires, wheels, went through the coilovers, sway bar mods. I mean, literally all of it. What's great about it, already came with a fuel cell in it and a roll cage, you know, so safety's there.
Well, man, I'm glad to see you out there. This is awesome.
Took a team of us, but yeah, it came together.
Going to Coda, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Stay off that wall.
Oh, yeah.
All right, glad you're back into
Cool.
it.
Yeah, thanks for coming
All
by.
right.
I want to give big thanks to my team because it took a team to build this car, and I'm really excited to show everybody what our team can do. Coda is really the only place where you can really open up a car like that. So excited about getting this loaded up and getting to Coda.
So because the 47 Ford is for Pawpaw, my father-in-law, I wanted to give it just the right amount of power. And this turbo is going to do just that. You know why I called you over here, though?
You ready for some turbo?
I'm ready to pipe this thing in, you know.
Yeah.
I cannot TIG anything like you can, and I want to do stainless steel.
All right.
I'm thinking turbo-wise, let's do a big single. Keep our RPM range up high.
Yeah.
That way we can kind of keep the torque lower.
Okay.
Let's try to manage power a little bit easier, you know.
Yeah.
Keep the, you know, the wheel speed a little lower so
Okay.
it doesn't spin everywhere it goes.
Yeah.
All right, so we got our mock-up fenders here. We're gonna get these fenders set up on the truck. You know, we already have our original fenders painted. They're ready to go. So we're gonna use these just for a reference so we can do all the intercooler piping.
Okay, we got this front clip on now. Before I can even touch this piping, I gotta get my intercooler in. Come on, kitty cat. And then I gotta get my radiator in. So the object is to keep everything under the hood. Last thing you don't want is not to be able to close the hood.
Tons of room for activities up here.
Yeah, you ain't kidding, man. Now that I got a general idea where my radiator is gonna be, where my intercooler is gonna be, I can start fabbing all my piping. All right, these right here is what you call a pie cut. This is what we'll normally do when we have to get around tight fits or if we have to get into a direction that a 90 or a 45 can't get us. The thing is with these pies, they're very tedious, but that's what you gotta do to get your pipe where you want it to be. Okay, now that I got these mocked up and taped, I'm gonna go ahead and tack these two pieces first. Once I get these all tacked up, I'll go ahead and join it to my big piece of pipe. And the only reason why I'm gonna do that is just so I don't lose any of my pies. I don't want anything to move or anything, so I'm gonna go ahead and tack this all into place and then build it all into one piece. All right, this looks good. Let's go mock it up and see what it looks like, see if I'm still straight and aiming for the hole that I'm shooting for, and if so, keep on piping it in. Beautiful. All right, I'm looking at about 25 foot worth of weld inches on the cold side of this intercooler pipe and another 25 inches on the hot side. Once I get all this welded out, this turbo should be complete. We ain't lacking much from getting it fired up, and this thing's gonna be awesome.
We're at Circuit of the Americas this morning, and you cannot deny the symphony of noises from all the different brands of cars here. It's just music. I just gotta get on that track. This thing took up all the curves, braking zones. I could go deep into the zones. Power was everywhere. This is a race car meant to be built at a racetrack. Man, could not be more excited about how this car performed. It did everything we needed it to do. Can't thank my crew enough for putting all the extra hard time to get this thing ready, because it's ready. It's more than ready.
Because we're in the final stages, we have to do everything at once. So we're installing seats, the front clip, the bed, battery cables, fuel lines, all while I'm trying to get the engine running just perfect. So when we built Pawpaw's engine, we made this thing for, set up for about 1,100 horsepower. Pawpaw doesn't need that much. So I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. I plugged in my OBD2 port to my laptop. Now I'm talking to the ECU on the truck. So before, Cummins came out and put ECUs on these engines and controlled it all electronically, use screwdrivers to turn them up and down. It was all mechanical. Now we use computers, which is a tool technically, and that's what I'm doing here. This is so much easier and so much cleaner. I can control when the power comes in, how it comes in. We're gonna take it back down to about 700 horsepower, which would be exactly what I think would be a good street truck and fun to drive. Now I need to go drive it. I'm gonna do a couple test runs in it, make sure it's exactly where it needs to be, and then this thing's ready to go back to Pawpaw. So I called Pawpaw up, told him to come meet me at the shop because I have a surprise for him.
What's up, brother? You doing okay?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Good to see you.
What you got going on here?
Well, you know, we've been working on your 47 Ford, and it's definitely been a challenge, but we finally got it done.
Well, I'm anxious to see this thing.
You ready to see it?
I'm ready to see it.
All right. Clay, bring it out.
Oh my God! Wow, what have you done? That's amazing.
That is the baddest 47 Ford on the planet.
It is definitely for sure. Oh, golly, look at that. Whoa, that's crazy, man. That's beautiful.
What's up, guys?
Hey, man.
Hey, Pawpaw.
Wow, this is awesome. Look at that thing. You guys got to show me what y'all done here, because this is amazing.
You know, Pawpaw, we started with a shell and a frame. First thing we did, busted it all apart, started with the frame, mocking the engine up, transmission up, the front suspension, and then we did our 4-link, got the axle in there. We got coilovers all 4 corners, so you got the good handling and you got the performance that it can put it to the ground.
I didn't ever think I'd see this truck put back together, especially like this. I mean, it's just amazing that you can take something what was an old piece of junk and turn it into something fabulous.
Pawpaw, we wanted to keep the original 47 Ford look. You know, when somebody saw the truck, we wanted them to know what year it was.
But when we gave it back to you, we really wanted it to be very unique and something you could stand out in.
So we widened the fenders on the rear.
Yeah?
You know, added about 4 inches on each side. We have 14-inch wide wheels on the rear.
Wow.
And we did a one-off custom wood bed in it. We gangstered that too.
It's so different. It's still got that 47 look, but the rest of it is gangster.
And you know, on the interior, we kept it real classic. You know, we went with the factory 47 Ford seat, the one that actually came out of your truck.
Oh, yeah?
Recovered it with some custom stitching and leather.
Wow, I love that seat. That's awesome there.
Did a billet steering column, billet steering wheel, digital gauges, and we got heat and AC. That way, you know, when you take Mama out, you don't freeze your tails off, and you got AC when it's hot outside.
And we're gonna be in style.
You're gonna be in style.
This is a beautiful truck, guys.
Well, if you think that's beautiful, magic's under the hood.
Let's check it out. Oh my gosh.
We've taken a 5.9 Cummins and stuffed it in a 1947 Ford with a little bit of custom touch, you know?
Wow.
It took a ton of work to get it in there, and then making the intercooler fit, turbo fit. It's all electronic, where we can change the tune. You know, we can modify it where it drives good, gets good fuel mileage, but it has a ton of power. You know, normally it's about 1,200 horsepower, but we have it down to about 750 horsepower,
Wow.
which is still impressive. But you know, you got to get in the driver's seat a little bit to get used to this kind of power.
It's definitely not factory, it's gangster.
You do something wrong to my daughter, you'll be sleeping with the fishes, you hear?
Actually, he said something just like that.
I can see him
It's
saying
kinda
that.
funny.
Chase, y'all done an awesome, amazing job. I definitely thank you very much. I'm impressed.
Pawpaw, our work here is done. She's all yours.
Thank you, son.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm gonna go pick up Mama and we're gonna go riding through town.
Well, I hope y'all enjoy it.
We will. Thank you very much, both of y'all.
Yeah, I know I'm gonna see Pawpaw driving this thing around, and I know he's gonna be the coolest guy rolling around in Nacogdoches, especially in that thing.
I'd be jealous seeing him in it.
I already am. He looks so good in there.
It does, it matches his ruggedness.
It does.